Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
It should be noted that Welcome to Night Vale is not a creation of my own. I am simply sharing my thoughts and comments on a podcast that I enjoy. Thank you, and please have a nice day.
Hello and welcome to this video. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is doing fine. And I hope the universe is treating you fairly. We are going into Night Vale again once more. This is the 27th episode entitled First Date. Just a heads up. For people outside the United States who may be watching or may watch this video, we are getting into the American holiday season. It kicks off with Thanksgiving and it concludes with the beginning of the new year. And I'm not going to have time due to family obligations, to do the Gen X videos and probably the Welcome to Night Vale videos. I've got some stuff pre-recorded and ready to go. So this weekend, this Saturday and Sunday, the Welcome to Night Vale and the Gen X videos are going to be kind of spotty whenever I got time to do them to the beginning of the year. I am sorry about that, but it's just the way family goes, holidays in America go. For those of you that are in America, you know what this insanity is going to is getting ready to kick off here in a while. I gotta find my notes. There we go. Starting November 25th or 23rd, realistically. 25th's the Monday before Thanksgiving. But the 22nd, realistically, because this is America and it is what it is. Things are going to be chaos through, like I said, probably the 3rd or 4th of January of next year. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm going to try to get some stuff when I got time, but count on it being sporadic and crazy. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and join our boy Cecil in Night Vale.
Mountains. Endless mountains. Peak after barren peak. And what lies restless in the shadowed valleys? I cannot say. I cannot say. Welcome to Night Vale.
Yeah, it seems here lately, though, I haven't had to do any kind of re-editing or re-recording by talking through this intro part. Something has to do with the way the copyright algorithm in music works. I don't know.
Hello. Let's start there. Let's start with a greeting, a simple hello, and then let's move right into the most exciting news, the most wonderful news. As you may remember, a few weeks ago, along with the beginning of a vicious war against us by tiny people from a tiny underground city, Carlos, the beautiful scientist, finally returned my expressions of affection. And not in that dry science way he always used to use, saying things like, "I'm not calling for personal reasons. I need to tell your radio audience about a strange hole that might appear in their wall."
Yeah, kind of important things to pass on.
Oh yeah, I forgot. There's a strange hole that might appear in your wall. He said it was important to tell you, especially after what happened in the Smithwick house. I forgot. That was a while back, so I guess it doesn't matter much now. But yesterday, when he called me, he started his call by saying, "I am calling for personal reasons. Also, my calculations show a strange source of energy approaching the town, but not emanating the kind of light that such a source should." Isn't that so sweet?
Maybe?
And well, one thing led to another. And last night, we went out on our first date.
You go, Cecil.
I just have to tell you about it. I have certain obligations, though. So, first, let's get to the news. The secret police, in association with a vague yet menacing government agency, announced that those trucks full of crates far out in the desert are nothing, and that we shouldn't worry about them. The trucks, which no one in town knew about until this announcement, are filled with crates that are warm to the touch. Some of them tick, others do not. Don't even worry a little about them, say the secret police. Forget we said anything.
You know, you need to listen to your secret police and your vague yet menacing government agencies.
No, really, remembering we said anything is now against the law. We reached out to Lieutenant Regis of Unit 7 of the local National Guard station and KFC combo store for a comment. And he said he's been ruminating on a lot of things. Just a lot of stuff's been running through my mind. That's an interesting phrase, running through the mind. Where are those thoughts going? Are they trying to leave? And if so, for where? When pressed to comment specifically about the trucks full of crates out in the desert, he just repeated everything he had said with the exact same inflections and gestures. Well, I'm sure these crates won't come up again.
Yeah, this is Night Vale. I wouldn't be holding your breath on that.
And pose no future danger to any of us. No more
Excuse
on
me.
this story, ever, I'm sure. The Night Vale Public Library will be expanding into a second branch, the Night Vale Private Library. This library will be right next door to the current location and will be available only to one person, local billionaire Marcus Vanston.
Yeah, which is that's kind of interesting because we, or I shouldn't say we, I should say the town of Huntsville privatized their library, and I've just lost all interest in going to a privately owned library. When it's a public library, I would go there and support them fairly regular, but now it's privatized, whatever.
It will contain thousands of books on any given subject, an interactive children's area shaped like a full-sized pirate ship, and a biography section featuring not just biographies of Helen Hunt, but also biographies of Sean Penn.
Hey, people want to know about Sean Penn. Especially kids that grew up in the 80s, I guess. I don't know.
Plans include floor-to-ceiling windows facing the public library, which Marcus, the only person who will ever be allowed inside, says he will use to stroll nude through his library, staring ordinary citizens in the eyes as he does not read or make any use of the towers of books around him. Marcus continued, "Maybe I will pick up a book and open it, as though I were going to read it, but then reveal to those watching that I am holding it upside down before laughing and throwing the book away. I'm not sure. I haven't planned out every moment. I will definitely be nude, though."
Sounds definitely like rich privilege to me.
The Public Library Board of Directors issued a statement via loudspeaker from their helicopter that hovers continuously over our city, indicating that they feel this expansion will serve the community by showing how rich Marcus is, and what a great guy that obviously makes him. And have you seen how many cars that guy owns? Wow. Reports also indicate that the Night Vale Private Library will be entirely free of librarians, a fact that will be of little comfort to the many public library goers who are injured or killed in librarian maulings every year.
Yeah, I should really get a hold of my goddaughter and see how many people she mauls each year as a librarian out in San Angelo. So yeah, don't know.
Remember, if confronted by a librarian while looking for a book to check out, do not attempt to escape by climbing a tree. There are no trees in the library, and the precious moments it will take you to look around and realize this will allow the librarian to strike. Don't become a statistic. All right, news done. So,
okay, let's find out how Cecil's first date went.
Now let's talk about the date. Carlos and I met up in Old Town. I was wearing my best tunic and furry pants, and he had on a laid-back weekend lab coat. We were both beautiful in the late afternoon sunlight. Each other's dreams met in a real-world moment.
I can imagine what that would look like. Actually, I don't have to. I've I've been to the Montrose district in Houston, and there's some God damn it, choking on my own spit there. But as I was saying, I've been to the Montrose district in Houston, and there's some really great restaurants. If you're in Southeast Texas, some of the best restaurants, bars, and entertainment is in that particular part of Houston, as well as the museums. So yeah. And going on Halloween night's always a special treat.
Our destination was none other than Gino's Italian dining experience and grill and bar, the fanciest restaurant in town. It was a perfect day.
Which is, I can say that sounds much better than Huntsville, which I think our fanciest restaurant is either Sonic or Arby's.
Other than the strange blot of darkness buzzing on the edge of town. But that was probably yet another Applebee's under construction. We went arm in arm into Gino's and were immediately seated, with no memory of who greeted us at the door or how we got to our table, situated in a classy, understated, and absolutely doorless room.
Hey, those are always the best rooms.
The full Geno's experience. Their menu is somewhat limited after the ban on wheat and wheat byproducts.
I imagine being an Italian restaurant.
So we each ordered a single portobello mushroom, served rare and bloody, as is the Geno's way.
I kind of want to know where they get their portobello mushrooms from, because that sounds yummy. Though I'm not real sure about the bloody part, but it's a good meat substitute though.
From the window, we had a great view of the sunset and of the buzzing shadow thing, which seemed to have moved closer. "I've been thinking," Carlos said. "Uh-huh," I said. "Yeah, that's what I've been doing lately," he said. "Thinking. It's part of being a scientist."
I got a laugh there.
"What have you been up to?" And so we talked. Just us and our bleeding mushrooms, and the buzzing shadow presence, and a blooming haze of romance in the air. Wait. Hold on. Station management is apparently getting agitated, flailing around their office and howling. So I need to do some more news real quick. Violent incidents increased across the entire Night Vale area over the last several weeks, as the people of the miniature city under Lane 5 of the Desert Flower Bowling Alley and Arcade Fun Complex continue to wage their war against us, with tiny bodies and tinier weapons. Citizens are urged to protect themselves against this army in our midst by stomping everywhere they go and keeping a vigilant watch towards the ground rather than keeping our eyes closed as we usually do. In related news, the City Council has erected a monument to the fallen Apache Tracker, that hero who died for the welfare of us all. The monument will be dedicated in a secret, silent ceremony attended by no one.
The best kind of ceremonies, to be honest with you.
And the monument itself will be buried somewhere in the desert where no one will find it. Because he was also a racist embarrassment, and we don't want our town associated with that kind of thing. And now the community calendar. Monday will be the annual Bluegrass Festival, held in the burned-out shell that used to be Louis Blasco's music shop, before he lit it on fire and skipped town with the insurance money.
Well, yeah, that happens sometimes.
Participants can huddle among the ashen remains, casting haunting looks at each other and sharing some of their favorite bluegrass dirges. Legend has it that if you look into a mirror and say absolutely nothing 3 times, Louis himself will appear and teach the crowd some simple, easy bluegrass licks before taking your soul back with him into the dark of the mirror.
Could be a fair trade.
Tuesday is a holiday. Make sure you have adequate emergency supplies and plenty of clear plastic sheeting. We're not sure which holiday it is, so have all possible antidotes on hand.
Good advice.
Wednesday, the staff of Dark Owl Records are getting a band together. "We know a lot about music," they'll say, grabbing knives and hammers. "We should start a band. Definitely," they'll continue over the screams. "Let's get a band together. We should do that." Thursday through Sunday will be a blur of routine and practicalities, a series of moments and actions that we will fail to notice as we experience them.
Yeah, that's about right, about average.
And will forget the moment they are gone.
Yeah.
This has been the Community Calendar. All right, boring stuff done. Back to the date. We wrapped up dinner at Gino's with a slice of their special, invisible, non-corporeal, and tasteless carrot cake, which was as light as air and resembled air in all other qualities as well.
I wonder if they got the recipe from some of the places here in Huntsville.
Our waiter, formerly a heavy-set man with a large mustache, was now a buzzing shadow man defined only by the absence of light in the vague shape of a torso and limbs. Presumably, our former waiter was on break. We asked for the check, and then made our escape from the doorless room by breaking the window using the brick our waiter had provided for that purpose. Carlos and I, oh, the magic of that phrase, oh, the ecstasy of all that a simple conjunction can imply, took a stroll through Mission Grove Park. It was just us and the trees and the crowd of our fellow citizens who were all doing the usual recreational activity of pointing at the sky and shouting in terror.
Yeah, been there, done that.
I asked Carlos if he wanted to join in for a round, but he said he had already been scared of all that the empty sky implies yesterday, and so was pretty tired. If you want, he said, we could do some tests on the trees. I've been meaning to do some scientific tests on the trees. They seem normal, but given all that I've observed in this town, it is a significant chance that they are not.
Yeah, Carlos probably got a real good bet there.
Well, of course, I could not pass up the opportunity to perform real science side by side with my Carlos. And so we approached the nearest tree, an old sagging thing, and began to perform tests.
I have X's that I could describe as old sagging things, but I won't, because that would be improper to describe X's as old sagging things, so I won't describe them that way.
The nature and purpose of which I am not remotely qualified to describe. Meanwhile, our fellow park-goers had ceased screaming and had taken up being strange, buzzing shadow beings. All of them were standing exactly where they had been, but were now defined only by the absence of light in the vague shape of a torso and limbs. I stroked Carlos's cheek. I don't know if he noticed. He said the tests were inconclusive, and also was perfect in face and form. And now a word from our sponsors.
Okay, getting ready to laugh on this one.
Looking for a home security solution? Good luck with that. Want to feel safe when driving your car? Get in line. Fearful when walking alone at night? Well, you should be. When life seems dangerous and unmanageable, just remember that it is. and that you can't survive forever. Denny's restaurants, why not? And now a station editorial.
I love those in-universe commercials. For me, I think sometimes I just kind of get looking forward to the in-universe commercials. They're great.
Listeners, a lot has been made about the topic of beauty. And I don't think we in the media always do our best to promote healthy self-images. Movies and magazines and TV shows and advertisers love to use photo and video editing to make people seem skinnier, fairer, and more appealing to a false ideal of human beauty. And I think this takes a strong hold of us, especially children. But remember, you are beautiful only when you do beautiful things.
Yeah, this episode came out in the summer of 2013. I think that's when that whole there's that big thing in the media. Kind of phlegmy today. Between that and choking on my own spit. When the whole media thing was going about how companies like Vogue and Abercrombie and Finch and stuff like that were using Photoshop on their models and stuff.
Full lips aren't as beautiful as a full laugh. Skinny hips aren't as attractive as a quick wit. Think about treating others right, and those others will flock to you in screaming droves. Just peel back those artificial layers, Night Vale. Unzip that name brand coat, those skinny jeans, wipe off that makeup, and gently, but very quickly, peel off that skin that's covering up
Ow, ow, ow.
the true you. Look at those exposed eyes, dangling unprotected from their gaping sockets. Look at the blood and sinew slowly uncoiling from quivering bones. Admire that slippery viscera trying to squeeze under those dynamic ribs of yours.
Beauty, only a biology teacher can appreciate.
You are organic, to be sure, listener. Be proud of who you are. Speaking of pride, speaking of beauty, more from my date soon. But first, the weather.
We'll go ahead here and make our pause for the weather like we normally do. And I will encourage you to go find Welcome to Night Vale on your own and listen to it without my commentary. I had a question on one of my I want to say Faceless Old Woman, that video when I posted it. And no, this is not, Welcome to Night Vale is not a creation of my own. I am way, way, way untalented, and I do not possess the intelligence for something this creative. So, we'll return after the weather. See you in a bit. Hello, and we are back from the weather. Like I said before the pause, go and check out Welcome Night Vale for yourself, without my commentary, and listen to the weather. There's a lot of really good groups, a lot of really good music. So, without further ado, let's get back into this.
Let's get right back into it, shall we? After the park, I drove him back to his lab, next to Big Rico's Pizza. The drive was difficult. Because at this point,
I do I want to interrupt Mr. Cecil here for a minute and say I think every town needs a Big Rico's pizza.
it seemed that everyone in town but the two of us had hopped onto the buzzing shadow entity train and were loping around town as malevolent holes in our reality, emanating an energy that made the hairs on your arms stand and your bowels vibrate.
I could deal with the hairs on my arms standing. I've been in positions in my life where I've had that happen. But vibrating bowels, that is not a sensation that I no.
Or maybe that was just the chemistry with Carlos I was feeling. A woman ran at our car screaming, a few of the shadow people chasing her, but before I could even touch the brake, she must have changed her mind because she had already turned into a shadow person herself. It's like, run from the shadow people or become one. Make up your mind, lady. We arrived outside of Big Rico's, and there was that awkward moment at the end of every date, where you pause outside of the person's door, and it's like, should I call the city council and submit the standard end-of-date report, or are you going to? Also, I was wondering if he was going to invite me into his lab to look at all those beakers and humming electrical equipment.
I don't know. That humming electrical equipment, along with vibrating bowels, may not. No.
Well, he said, pointing to his lab, this is me. Uh-huh, I said. I should probably do something about this buzzing shadow thing, he said. A few experiments to see if I can save the town. Oh? I said. Do you need any help with that? No, he said. A scientist is self-reliant. It's the first thing a scientist is.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Oh, I said again, but softer, sadder. Which is when he leaned forward and kissed me. Just once. Just gently. Just before slipping out of the car and into the lab. I'll tell you, listeners, I was almost swallowed by a cloud of malevolent shadow energy on the drive home, and I hardly even noticed.
True love. That is that is a symbol of true love. If you almost get swallowed up by the void, or in this case, buzzing, malevolent energy buzzing things, and you don't notice it, that's true love.
I was so happy. I guess Carlos managed to find a way to defeat the shadow energy, as everything seems normal today. A couple neighborhoods are emptied out, sure, with books and food and televisions left where they had been at the time of the sudden vanishing, a tableau of a life that never again will be.
You know, you gotta take, I mean, you're gonna have some losses sometimes.
But it wouldn't really be a weekend without that happening somewhere, right? Night Vale, my sweet and only Night Vale, may you find love. May you find it wherever it's been hidden. May you find who has been hiding it and exact revenge upon them. As the old song goes, love is all you need to destroy your enemies.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think that made it into the final cut of the song, though.
Finer words were never chanted. Stay tuned next for Efficiency Hour with our own productivity expert, a reversed voice underscored by hypnotic pulses. And with all the love in my loving heart, and with a loving voice in a loving and terrifying world, good night, Night Vale. Good night.
All right. That was the first date with Carlos and our boy Cecil. So, I hope everyone enjoyed it. I hope with everyone makes it through in one piece and in good spirits with the upcoming craziness of the holiday season. And until next time, remember to be a good human. Be good to other humans. Peace.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?